If you thought last week was a great show, we have even better material.
Wow. Do we?
Actually,
I don't know.
Actually, I didn't
I
produce
gave my
this
best
week's
stuff
show.
last week.
Yeah.
I didn't produce the show, and I haven't talked to you guys all morning.
Were we
so-
supposed to prepare?
Holy smokes.
No, we're ready. We're locked.
I thought this
No,
was
it's
Joe's
a
week to
lock.
prepare. Yeah.
Loaded.
Flame Central Podcast,
Yes.
powered by Alcova Mortgage. We have field hockey's Reagan Underwood.
Huge
Some call
win.
her the grandma on the team. She'll prove you otherwise a little bit later of a better nickname. Field hockey took down Duke, number 4 Duke.
Bam.
Joe Yock
Bam,
loves
bam.
that.
Oh, anytime
that.
the Dukies get beat, I'm a happy guy.
On Sunday, but more important, or not more importantly, I didn't mean that. Sorry, Nikki Parsley-Parker.
Oh.
I did not mean that. Not more importantly, Reagan.
Oh, boy.
But also, Liberty football
Yes.
picked up a big win over UTEP this week, moving to 3-0 on the season. Coach Chadwell said not only 3-0, Emily, but we're 2-0 in CUSA play.
That's a great point.
Bam.
That is the most important thing for the Flames. Wow, a lot to unload from this game, including some injuries that we don't know a lot about yet. Media availability is tomorrow, but what are your reactions? I mean, do we want to go more into like the game talk or more into the concerns if Cooley isn't available moving forward with this team?
Well, let's start with the Cooley part because and kind of a little bit of both there. He goes out after that big run.
Right.
And you want to, okay, what's this going to look like? How about Billy Coolhand Lucas stepping up?
How about that?
I mean, goes for over 100 yards, 3 touchdowns, a career day.
Yeah.
And that just goes, we talked about that running back room so much coming into the season and the depth and experience they have there. Well, that's when it shows up.
And
It's
that's
not
why
just
Joe Yock knows who to draft.
Okay, it all goes
We'll
back
get
to
to
Joe's
that later.
fantasy team. But it's not just about like spelling, Cooley and all that stuff. Like Billy Lucas is good enough to handle the job himself.
He's a number 1 back kind of guy.
He is. And so really, excited for him. And that was huge for the Flames to get that kind of production out of him. They got a little bit out of Vaughn Blue, but he seemed a little bit out of sorts a couple of times. There's the fumble and all, which by the way, I went back and looked at that here this morning. That play should have been blown dead.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
easily. The fumble in the third quarter, Vaughn Blue fell forward, took a full step, and then they snapped the ball. I just about kicked over your water. And then so that should have been blown dead, whatever. But he didn't have a great game. But Billy Cooley and Lucas picked up the slack, and that was huge for Liberty and will be going forward, knowing that you have him. And if Cooley can't go, I think they have confidence in James Joyner as well. Like he was a guy that a couple of weeks ago, Jamie Chadwell said, we got to find a way to get him into the ballgame more because he is a big, powerful running back. So I think you still feel confident about the depth that you have at that position.
I just want to show some love to Cooley. If you haven't been checking out the Flames Central Game Day, the pre- and post-game show, post-game, I get to talk with Coach Chadwell and a player after the game. And I obviously talked with Billy Lucas, and I was like, Quentin Cooley who? I got Billy Lucas here. I didn't mean it like that, Quinn.
Wow.
And
Boy, you've already talked the field hockey team's not
Emily
important.
is just.
You've already said the field hockey team's not important.
I know.
Now you're busting on Cooley.
I am trying to
Hey,
take
can I get this
ownership.
camera? Can I look at? I just want to apologize on behalf of Emily. Her statements do not represent the Flame Central podcast. They don't represent the Flame Central TV show. They are her opinions and hers alone.
I am trying to take accountability
Don't
over
forget about
here.
the university.
Yeah, they do not represent the university in any way whatsoever.
President Costin, just listen
Yes.
up. No. But I was like thinking about that when I was walking off the field and rewatching it back, and I'm like, who, Quentin Cooley, who? I didn't mean it like that.
Oh,
so
boy.
if I offended anybody, that was just
It
a
would have
little.
just been Quentin and
But-
anyone related.
But
to
listen,
him.
I think Cooley's fine. He said he's good. So hopefully that's
told you
true.
that on the sideline?
He told me that, yes. So
Okay, good.
he said he's good.
We'll see.
So he's like, everybody calm down.
We'll
He
see.
I hope so.
had on his Instagram story, don't worry, I'm fine. So
I hope so.
let's hope that that's true. But I didn't mean it like that. And I was like, Billy's like, well, I love Cooley. That's my.
It's enough. You're trying to explain yourself.
You're just
It's
digging
enough.
deeper and
Just
deeper
stop.
hole. It's fine. Yeah, just
please
we'll
stop.
just
Go ahead with your reaction, JR.
Um,
See what happens when I don't do any producing or research.
My reaction to this game was I was very impressed with the defensive side of the football and a lot of things they did. I thought that they did a really good job of mixing up their coverages, mixing up their blitzes, and giving them that quarterback, Skylar Locklear, was a really good player. They had Cam Thomas. They had some really good players, and they had a good scheme with what they were trying to do. And if you didn't come with your A game defensively, they had the type of offense that could have lit you up. And they had the players to be able to do it. And so
that Thomas kid.
Yeah, the Cam Thomas kid is a really good player. And then the other, I keep on the kid at the outside,
Chapman.
Odom, Kenny Odom, or
Kenny
Trey
Odom.
Goodman.
Kenny
Yeah.
Odom.
They were those guys were good. And so like you had to bring your A game in order to that, or else they could have scored a lot of points if you weren't ready. So I shout out to the defense. Offensively, I don't know if I can get into this now, but offensively, like you're starting to see what this team is becoming. Like, I know Coach Chadwell going into the season was concerned about a few different things. And when you're rebuilding your offensive line, and he has a system that he's had a ton of success with at multiple different places, and you're starting to see like this thing is maybe morphing into something a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
And the question is like, how far do you go with that?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so like, I don't want to go on forever here. So we can get into more of that.
Well, I'll say this, and you touched on even during the broadcast, that Salter throwing from the pocket in the second half seemed to kind of get the offense settled in. And he did. I mean, he ended up more pass plays of 20-plus yards in this game than any other this season, 5. And they were to 5 different receivers, which is impressive, too. He ends up with 228 yards passing on 15 of 19 throwing the football. So, yeah, he seemed to get into a rhythm in the second half. And that's going to be huge, Cooley or not. But especially if Cooley is dinged up at all, you got to be able to have Caden sit in that pocket, make throws downfield. And, I mean, you saw Sibley again doing what he did,
Mobley
breaking
came up
tackles.
big.
Tyson Mobley, 4 catches, had that great touchdown grab. You had a big tight end completion to Jacob Jenkins, his first catch, and went for 33 yards and a first down. So you're starting to see him spread it around and seem like he's getting a little bit more comfortable. The one thing you can't have are the 2 fumbles that Liberty had. That's the one area that you can't give the ball back.
Okay, you led me into that.
Yeah.
Right. So perfect. So now this is where I think this is going. Okay, so you can't just say like the last thing you want to do is like, hey, they led the nation in rushing last year.
Right.
Right. So you're always going to try to run the football.
Right.
Right. So that's who their identity is. But at the same time, I think that when you look at this team offensively, you look as like it's time to let Caden Salter go. Like I think that this is just my opinion. When I watch this team and I watch Caden Salter, as comfortable as he is thrown through in the pocket, and you have receivers there that there isn't a CJ Daniels, but there is a lot of really talented players at the receiver position. And those guys, whether it's a Reese Smith coming along further, Tyson Mobley is fantastic. Canyon is fantastic. I mean, you got guys
tight end position as well.
The Jenkins, the Henshaw. Like you have all these different guys where you can spread it out. And Caden Salter likes that part of the game. And I can personally almost sense like it's like he's trying to be a good team guy and say, all right, coach, we're going to go with what you got. But it's getting to that point now. You're starting to get a little bit of that feeling like, hey, him personally, like, let me loose.
Give me the reins.
Give me the reins and let me go. Let me sit back and throw and be able to throw the football from the pocket, throw the football on the run, make plays happen with his feet. And I think that's where potentially you're going to see the direction of this team go. And I personally believe that is a good direction for this team to go.
Right. And that being said, like offensive coordinator Willie Korn was telling us in the coaches call before this game, similar to last year when they came in for year 1, they're still learning this personnel. And they're still learning what receiver that needs to be on the field for certain plays. So I think that is going to take time. I think that like they are admitting and recognizing that, it is only game 3 and they're still trying to figure out what guys fit in this offense in what areas and all of that. So, but I do agree with you, like letting Salter go.
Here's something that's interesting when you look at just kind of the numbers, and it's only 3 games, so it's not a ton. But for Liberty, they have had their most success in the second and fourth quarters, right? So it's like you come out in the first quarter, you're figuring out what they're trying to do to you, you make adjustments, you have success in the second quarter. Third quarter, they adjust back, You figure it out. And the fourth quarter by far has been Liberty's most successful quarter.
It's the Flames quarter.
It's the Flames quarter. That's a real deal.
I will say, sorry to interrupt you, but there was someone on the UTEP sidelines. I was over on their sidelines during the video that they play. If you have not been to a game at Williams Stadium this year, it is electric in the leading into the fourth quarter. Not only with the Don't Stop Believing, but then they play that video, and this guy on the UTEP sidelines, I don't know if he was a coach or what he was, he looked over him and he goes, whoa. They do things.
That's the Flames score.
Yeah, they do things really well around here.
Liberty scored 57 total points in the first 3 quarters combined this year. They've scored 42 in the fourth quarter alone.
Wow.
So
what a stat, Matt Warner.
It's adjustments being made by the coaching staff. It's also there's something to preaching. We own this quarter. We own this quarter. Flames quarter. It sounds, from the outside, you might say that sounds cheesy, whatever. But this team, it's not cheesy if it works. It's not cheesy if the team believes. They believe they're better conditioned, and Jamie Chadwell talked about that in the New Mexico State game, thought they were the better conditioned team in the fourth quarter. And we've seen it now for a year and a half almost, that is when they play their best ball. And obviously, if you're going to play great in one quarter, you probably want to.
And a couple things to add on that. I think it's one of those things. Not if they just believe, but if they don't stop believing.
Yes, that's true.
Oh,
that's a good
my
point.
gosh.
You made it.
I was trying to find.
You're always believing,
yes.
but sometimes you just don't stop.
You don't
believe.
stop.
Yeah.
That's true.
There's a crazy stat. I gotta find it, but Jamie Chadwell's record when he has the lead in the fourth quarter,
I think it's
like
it's insane.
It's like 38.
Well, his record's already insane.
Yeah. It's insane. Shout out Todd Wetmore with that one.
Yeah.
So wait, one more thing before you go. So, 2 things. It felt different down there on the field. Obviously, I wasn't at New Mexico State when they had that comeback win, but this win felt different on the field with like the I don't know, just like their attitude and just how like
the energy,
the joy, the energy,
yeah.
not only of Chadwell but the players. It just felt
a
happier win than I saw against Campbell. The other thing, I'm driving away the other day after the game, and I see UTEP defensive coordinator J.J. Clark literally feet out up against a brick wall of the indoor and just like this.
Yeah.
Just sitting on the ground, feet and head.
I'll
just
say
going
this.
I almost pulled over and was like, is he crying? Like he just
I'll tell you this.
defeated.
That coaching staff and that team,
they're going to be good.
They're going to continue to get better. But they leave it all out there, man.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they are jumping up and down. There is a lot being poured into this, trying to get this thing going. And, I bet he felt that way. I would probably feel that way, too, with as much as they poured into this one.
Just like a little kid that's got his candy stolen or something.
They keep it going nonstop. I mean, to the point where the game's over and Chadwell's getting ready to take a knee, and he calls timeout.
Which, by the way,
did you see my question when I asked Coach about it after the game?
No, but he talked about it on the post game.
He goes, you got to be, they were really testing our Christianity there.
Yeah.
But we got to be classy.
Yeah.
And the guys were begging me to run in.
I can tell you, I can confirm, and he said this in the post game press conference, that the Liberty coaching box, which is in our site. They were not feeling hey, we're going to be the classy ones here.
No.
They wanted to punch that thing bad.
So did everyone that took the over.
And And I'm glad you mentioned that. And we'll dip in real quick to the mailbag early for one.
Sorry, we cut you off.
We did have a question coming from, I forget who it was from. Maybe it was from Harrison. Yes, he said, I'm confused by that. He's like, isn't it more important for us to look like we won it by a bigger margin? We talked about that at the beginning of the year, style points.
Scoring prediction?
I would say right now for Jamie Chadwell, he's not thinking about any of that stuff.
No.
All the style points, run it up, playoff, all that. No, he's not thinking about any of that. We're just surviving.
The extra 6 points or 7 points you score there is not going to make a difference in going to the playoffs or not.
Yeah.
That's what you're getting at.
I will say, the stat I found for you,
record?
Here it is. So Jamie Chadwell, when his team is leading going into the fourth quarter, he has won 42 straight.
42
Look at that.
42
in
a row.
Let's knock on some wood
leading
because
going into the fourth quarter. That's incredible.
Before I cut you off, you were talking about something, and I wasn't listening. Do you remember?
Well, no, I just wanted to bring up a point moving forward about the offense.
Okay.
Right?
Oh, yes.
So my point is moving forward with this offense is that let's look at reality. The reality is, and everybody knows, there's 2 major games circled on the schedule, right? East Carolina and App State.
Yeah.
Okay, and those are your next 2. And so you know that if you can come out of these next 2 games with victories, then like obviously there's still a huge road ahead of a lot of good teams to play.
Right.
But if you can get these 2, now your one, your confidence is going to be way up, and 2, you feel as if like, okay, we're in the hunt now, right? We're in the hunt for a conference championship, and we're in the hunt for other things that come postseason. So my point is, like, what is it for now that is going to put you in a position, especially offensively, to win these next 2 ball games? And I think that's obviously one at a time, but to win this East Carolina game to start with. And so when you look at the offense, you say, all right, where are we really good? Where do we need to get better? Okay. And we knew from the beginning that this O-line was going to be a work in progress. There's nobody that I have more faith in to get the line, everything square than Billy Durkin, right? I mean, the best. But O-line is the most difficult position to coach, and it's the most difficult position to get people to gel. So what do you have to do right now in order to have the most success to win this next ball game, then obviously the next one
Which
after
we
that?
will dive a little bit more into
for
in
sure,
just a moment on the other side of this Reagan Underwood interview.
On that point, my argument going into these next 2 games would be it's more about what the defense does than the offense. Because I don't know that Liberty offensively right now is in a place where they can go win a 42-35 game. I don't think they can. I think it's got to be like in the 20s. And the defense we have seen continue to grow really from late second quarter against New Mexico State through this ball game. Liberty is now the 12th best defense in the country on third down. They hold teams to 24% third down conversion rate.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That is huge. Getting yourself off the field on third down is huge. Also, Amarian Williams, Elijah Hopkins, 2 cornerbacks that had not played this year. 2 of the coaches told us probably 2 of the top 3 corners on this team coming into the season and their expectation finally got back on the field this week. So you're getting healthier at the corner spot too, which was a concern early in the year. So I like the way the defense is trending and getting those guys back as you hit this toughest stretch of the schedule.
Another thing we'll talk about on the other side of this Reagan Underwood interview is how, oh my gosh, it's such a dumb, bold prediction. And yes, there was a third interception that got taken back.
I can't wait for this. She thinks she's so smart. It's not even close.
We were so close to having 4 interceptions, and I looked at it as so dumb.
Also, Malik Willis. Can we talk about Malik Willis after?
And we will also talk about Malik Willis. A lot of doubters out there, and he came to play for Green Bay yesterday. But first, let's go to this interview with Reagan Underwood. We're taking it back to the pitch, but this time field hockey.
Yes.
A professional, Reagan Underwood. She's going to take all of our job. What is this, Joe? What is this?
That's field hockey.
Yeah,
Oh,
good.
okay.
All in the
Weaving
wrist.
in, all in the wrist.
Yeah.
Okay. He says the same thing about pickleball.
Yeah.
Reagan Underwood, communications major, so she is definitely taking all of our jobs one day. It won't be very difficult to fill those. Reagan, welcome. Thanks so much for coming on.
I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course. You all know Flames Central Podcast, powered by Alcova Mortgage.
Yes.
Joe is going to force you to say that in just a little bit. Alcova Mortgage. You'll learn it by the end. Okay, let's talk a little bit about this season. Quick rundown with that starting at that number 3 Virginia loss, and then you guys come back, smack William and Mary, and then you take down and then you take down number 4 Duke just yesterday.
Yeah.
Right?
Just yesterday.
1-0.
Still sore.
Still so
Yeah. Heading to the ice bath straight from the podcast. But
nothing makes me happier than that.
Then Duke losing?
Yes.
I know. I knew you'd get on board with that.
Good job.
tell me about, those 3 games as a whole and how you guys responded, how you felt after the loss, and then how you responded.
Yeah, so starting off with UVA, we didn't have a game that Friday, so we were able to put all of our attention on UVA, on that game plan, what we were going to do. And we really tried to implement a specific press that we thought was going to work super well against them, which actually worked very great. When we got that ball up into their outlet, we got to put a lot of pressure on them, which I think was super fun for us because we have such a great attacking-minded team, and our front half of our team is just very experienced. So it just gives them something to actually shine with. And then those past 2 games, we got to implement it again. Like, it just really worked out that new press we worked on that whole week leading up to UVA was then being, like, actually implemented into the following week as well with William & Mary and Duke. So UVA, that game was, I think, a great, like, starting point for what's going to be, like, following weeks of tough games, right? You know, we had Duke this past, yesterday, and we're going to have UNC coming up. So that's just the beginning of the tough games that we always have in our schedule. And it was a great starting point just for us to be like, okay, like, that's our competition. That's what's going to look like. That's the speed we're going to have to play at.
Right.
And we were able to hold them for a long time, equal it up again. And while we weren't able to keep that, it was a great starting point for us to be like, okay, now what do we have to adjust? What are the fine details that we're going to have to improve in order to be able to continue to grow, to continue to play tough teams and beat them like I think we know and we're definitely capable of.
I'll talk more in detail about the press later.
Okay.
How that works
Yeah.
and whatnot. So don't,
Yeah.
we don't want to get in the mud, but don't worry.
Okay.
You're one of the old
Stick with
timers
the
on this
Packline.
team, right?
Yeah.
So 5th year, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
So we think back to, everyone remembers that great run in the postseason. A lot of new faces since that team, right? A lot of new pieces. So as you look at this year's team, how does it feel different? You've been a part of all of it. Like, how does it feel different, and how might it be maybe even better in some areas than what it was in the past? Have you seen the growth of the program?
Yeah, honestly, I think out of all of the years of, like, being on this team with Floof, this is probably the biggest shift just because it was a lot of unknowns, a lot of new people coming in. I mean, we lost like 10 people.
Oh, wow.
And then we had 10 new people come in, 9 of them being true freshmen, which is crazy. A lot of young new faces, but a lot of young talent who's just excited. I think that was the biggest part for me, was people who are excited to learn, excited to grow and try out new things and see, like, what can we do in order to improve. And it's fun because every game, it's not like we're trying to get rid of old habits. It's great. Now we have new minds and fresh minds who then every time we play, it's like, okay, I think we can just keep getting better from here. And it also helps with our mindset. Rather than feeling stuck in previous ways, it's, okay, we're going to be innovative. Let's try new things. So it's just fun, and it's really exciting to be with a lot of new people who are, ready to go and are just like, you know what, this is my first, second year. A lot of them, so many underclassmen. But
And you're like, I'm the grandma.
Yeah. It's crazy. I think that first week I was called grandma like 3 times, and I was like, oh gosh.
We're just gonna stop that right now.
I was like, please no. I'm like, I don't feel like that.
Mom,
I say
grandma.
cool aunt.
Cool aunt.
Is
I
what
like
I
that.
prefer.
That's good.
You're definitely a cool aunt.
I think that's what I think I am.
Yeah.
Cool
I think
aunt,
I'm-
seasoned vet, you know.
I think I'm
something
funny enough for that. At least I try. I try. Maybe my teammates don't agree, but I really try. But I love this new group of girls, and they just do such a good job, and they're really fun to play with.
Yeah.
When you look back to this schedule and how you guys play so many tough teams and ranked teams, and then you have, you guys didn't get over the hump with Virginia, but you guys are playing with them, you're beating Duke. How much does that help with, especially a lot of young players, the confidence of the team that, hey, not only can we play with these teams, but we deserve to be in the same conversation with them?
Honestly, that's something we're trying to work on. We have our theme for the year is Pursue. We worked a lot in the first part of the semester of the season on relentless pursuit about, like, what does it look like to work hard and to push through. Now we're actually going into what we're calling faith-filled, and it's how do we have faith in this program of what we're capable of, not only on a spiritual level, but also on have faith in what we're capable of. And so that started yesterday with our game against Duke, and then going into the rest of these games, it's like, all right, how do we have faith in what we're capable of, which I know that we are, but now it's getting the team on that same page. So that's hopefully what we're going to really look at for the rest of this, part of this season, and then be able to move on from that.
Football's word is also
What's
pursue.
There's a lot
So
of
look at
pursuit.
Chadwell and Parsley Blocker, on the same page with that pursue. Do you want to are you ready to break down?
As you pursue that, no, I'm not quite ready for that yet. We're not going to get into the details yet. As you pursue that championship, when you look back and you see the championship team that you had before from years ago, and you look at this team for where they're at now, are they comparable? Is it like, okay, this is the kind of team that's built to win a championship that was similar to what that team was? is there a level of expectation as you're going throughout the season that, hey, we may have a chance to be in the hunt to play out the same season we had before with that championship type of season?
I mean, we definitely have very different personnel, and like just being on like a different part of it, that team, like I was very much an underclassman, like looking up to other people. Now being in a different role, like that also already makes it different. Like, because now there's new faces leading, new people to look at. And I think we have a lot of new like talent, but now it's like finding that fight in us. And I think that's there. It's just bringing that out. But again, our goals are always win a Big East, make a national championship run, go win the national championship. So that's always constant. So as long as we have that as like our foundation, and those goals are always a part of like our mission, what we want to do, then I think we're going to be able to achieve big things no matter what, as long as we keep our goals in mind.
All right, so you can probably answer this as well as anyone. Maybe Coach Nikki could answer as well. But like,
pointed to Joe. I thought you were
No,
going to say.
Joe.
I thought you were going to say
No.
Coach Young.
He knows all the
So I was getting a little worried.
I know.
there.
Don't give away too much, Joe. But when you go, and I hate that, and part of me hates that we keep referencing that postseason run, because I know in a lot of ways it's like, okay, that's then, this is now. Like we're in the present, but we're looking at now. 2 feet on the ground, in the moment. But when you have a run like that in any sport, you hope it translates in recruiting, and you're able to take a bump, right? Do you see that? Like you remember your class coming in, you've seen all these classes throughout your time. Is the program now reaping the benefits of that in terms of the athleticism, the talent that you've been able to bring in since that point?
Yeah, 100%. This freshman class is actually a part of that recruiting class that was getting recruited right after our national championship run. And these girls are super capable. They are like great, not only athletes, but just character-wise as well, and skill-wise. Like we were able just to get so much more traction on the recruiting page because of making that national championship run. Most people who were like, I didn't even know who Liberty was before then. Now we make this run, we're on people's radars. So that group that came in as freshmen, they were part of that class. So yes, we are getting to reap the benefits of that. And it's just cool getting to see them have that excitement from when they were getting recruited and saying like, wow, that's a team I want to be on. And then they got to make that decision, which is super cool.
What do you think is the identity of this team? I know it's still young in the season and all that, but well, I guess not. I mean, before you know it.
You're 5 games in.
Yeah, 5 games in. Do you think you guys know what your identity is, or is that something that you find throughout the season?
I mean, our identity, we play as like Loof, we play, and we also say we live for the highest purpose. So our identity is in like playing for God, for those of us who are Christians, but playing for something bigger than ourselves. I think when we remember that, then we, actually get to reap the benefits from our playing, from our practice, and it all comes together when we get into competition because it is bigger than ourselves, right? It's not just, if I just play for me and for my own game, I'm never going to be able to actually be cohesive with my team, and we're never going to be able to achieve the goals that we want to. Whereas if every person buys into our purpose, our Liberty Field hockey purpose of living for that higher purpose, then we're going to be able to have the success that we want. And maybe that does not always look like winning, but it's going to look like us being better athletes, being better people, and then glorifying God in the process.
Have you guys,
Oh, gosh.
defensively,
Yeah.
Here we go.
have you guys...
Wait, give the backstory
All right.
about how.
Well, let's get the backstory is this. We had Nikki on, right? And
Before last year.
Before last year, and we off camera, her and I were talking about installing different defenses.
This is where the story begins dipping into the
said-
not true.
I said that I've studied the Packline defense a lot. And I think that field hockey could have the opportunity to have some success in the Packline. So we sat down. We got on the drawing.
We're still off the main track.
I'll let you know when it gets back to.
We got on the drawing board.
Yeah.
We got on the drawing board. We installed the Packline, and just So as you guys have, and once I give it over to the coach and let him run with it.
Yeah, we're still not back to the.
So
Still not back to
so
true.
now we're
Yeah.
bringing it in.
All right,
We're
Reagan
bringing it
has
in.
practice.
We're
We gotta.
bringing it in. And so now that you guys have the pack line in, are you more of an end line, force end line, pack line defense, or are we trying to allow them to get in the gaps and then close those gaps type of defense?
I mean, for us, for our pack line, it's basically trying to get them into our numbers and outside into the less dangerous space. Yeah. So we try to force them over to our trap zone, essentially.
And then you're doubling from there.
Yeah,
right?
and then we're doubling from there as long as.
Wow, look at Joe.
Yeah,
Yock.
that's great. It's like
Because that's what you
created
suggested.
It. Yeah, right.
Do you guys need
That's what you suggested.
volunteer
in there.
Everybody
assistant
makes
coach?
fun of me.
I know. I think you're right. I think we do.
And fun of me, and I'm just putting things in to help people win around
Right.
here.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
Field
just very
hockey.
selfless.
Yeah, it is. Right.
Thank you.
He's.
Yeah.
It's,
Thank
it's
you.
not
I'm
about
not looking
him.
for credit.
It's not about him.
not
It
looking-
is. It usually is.
He just said, "I'm not looking for credit."
Right.
Hey, listen, you stop. I don't need any credit.
Yeah.
Okay, it's okay.
He's gonna like steal the championship,
Yeah,
national
yeah.
championship trophy before
He
anyone
will
else
take
on field
credit.
hockey can
He
take
does
it.
take credit for
He's gonna
any
be running
success
around
the
field.
program
Guys
has.
sprinting out
Yeah.
in the last whistle.
Yeah.
No.
Oh
that's
my
outstanding.
gosh.
Well, Reagan, I guess my last question for you would be: you guys have had this success early, and again, you guys are like maybe the one program. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else. Maybe softball might be in that mix, but I think you guys even above that, where you say, "Oh, they beat a top 10 team." And that's great, but you've gotten to the level where it's not like
That's a
stop
standard.
the presses, oh my gosh, history. It's, again, they did it again. Like, oh, that's kind of what we expect because you guys are, 11th in the country right now, or that's what you're worth being.
I
like,
think we were 12th, but that
right,
could
so you're
change.
right there. You're basically a top 10 program yourself, right? So you're in a little different category than probably almost anybody else on this campus. But as you look going forward, you've gotten to this point, you've had a big win. Where's the growth? Where's the biggest room for growth that you see within this team?
See, I think within this team, it's just, I think we talked about it earlier, but just knowing what we're capable of. It's just that confidence piece that I think we have. Because we have so many new people, it's almost weird to feel like, oh, we are that good. But we are that good.
Yeah.
Like, as long as we all believe that, then we're going to be able to achieve those things and not let it be a surprise, right? We go and beat Duke yesterday, but that can't be a surprise to us because I think we are that capable. So as we go into these next games like ODU and UNC, we got to go in there expecting to win and playing with that level of confidence.
What are the Tar Heels ranked right now?
I think they're top 2 right now.
They're in top 2, aren't they?
And you guys in ODU have a real special relationship.
Oh,
Yeah, very special.
Yes,
yeah.
yes, that'll be
That's-
fun.
yeah.
Yeah, those are always
I
interesting.
heard
battles.
those games are bloodbaths.
Oh boy, here we go.
Oh, my
Stirring it
gosh.
up.
I
Yeah.
didn't know.
Stirring it up.
You've had a lot of great honors in this sport. What is your non-Liberty? What's your most exciting or the coolest honor that you've had and got to experience in field hockey?
Honor, like you mean like award-wise? Or
Not
just even,
necessarily
like, just-
award-wise, or maybe like a team that you've played for. Just like
A moment away
A
from
moment,
because you've
yeah.
played internationally and stuff as well, right?
Yeah,
what's
yes,
the
I have.
coolest one?
Yeah, I think it was honestly winning the Junior Pan American Championships because it had been years since the U.S. had won that. And so being a part of that team and kind of creating a legacy for that was really cool. And I think just hopefully what that does then, it brings more people into the sport, people who are younger and maybe are trying to figure out, oh, do I like field hockey? Can see that and say, you know what, like I could do that one day. I could go play on a team like that. It's about trying to encourage people to play the sport because it is so unique and it's not as popular. But I hope that with the success that we got in that Junior Pan American Championships was that people want to play it.
Yeah.
And
Where
people
was that
wanna
at
go play
again?
it. That was in Barbados.
Oh,
Barbados,
cool.
wow.
Yeah.
We should have covered that.
Yeah. Well,
I remember going to the national championship, covering you guys in Michigan, and
Yeah.
I'm like, I've never heard of this sport because I'm from Florida, so
Yeah.
it was not big down in Florida. But I was like, I do have a red shirt left, but I feel like my back,
your knee.
my
you
knees,
got that bum
yeah,
knee.
it's pretty rough.
I don't think that's
But
gonna-
it seems like so much fun.
It is, it
and I'm
really
a little
is.
soft now too. I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
like y'all are tough.
Let me say this. Here's my one. Tell me if this is the way it feels for me watching. Anytime it's a high level, like top 10 matchup,
Yeah.
I feel like you could basically just go to first score, like next score wins, right? Don't you feel like it's such a defensive, like I feel like that's different than maybe a lot of other sports.
Yeah.
When it's high level, it feels like we're gonna end up in double overtime anyway. You know what I mean? Like especially when you get to tournament play.
Like soccer.
Yeah, it's
That
so
first goal.
such that one goal.
Yeah.
Like it's so hard. Like the scoring is just so difficult. No matter, and you guys have been a really good scoring team over the years offensively. But once you get into tournament play, it's like
crazy.
it just jump to double overtime because it's gonna be like one moment and that's it, game over. That's got to be just the stress of that, knowing that like that's it. Like that could be it. There could be one good scoring opportunity the entire game. If you don't take advantage of it, that could be it.
Yeah, no, it definitely could be. And that's why we're always working on like those moments, because we talked about yesterday that like, great, we took advantage of that like one moment we got. When we continue to play games like this, there's only going to be a few moments if you get in there. So you have to really work on how do we make those moments high quality. So yeah, it's crazy once
Those
you get into
corners,
those games.
you know, those corners.
Corners are huge.
The corners are
Especially
huge.
earning them.
Yeah, right.
Earning those corners, Joey.
You gotta know how to earn the corner. It's huge.
Do you want to talk about the attack, or
I'm more
do you,
of a defense.
you want to do that?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Well, Reagan, thank you so much for your time. It's been so cool to, see you and watch you grow within this program. And I know you're such a big leader with this program. So it's been really, really cool to see, and excited to see what you guys are going to do this year.
Absolutely.
We expect big things. So, guys, anything else?
yes.
One more.
Look,
Flames Central Podcast.
look at the
Powered.
camera.
Powered. You've got a lot of flair to you. I really like you, Reagan.
Powered.
by Alcova Mortgage. Flames Central.
Says right here.
Yeah, right there.
Right.
Flames Central Podcast.
Wow, you
powered
actually,
by
you
Alcova
actually
Mortgage.
could
Go.
read that small font.
Okay.
Go.
Flames Central Podcast, powered by Alcova Mortgage.
Boom.
Beautiful.
Damn.
Wow, I was
Nailed.
stressed.
Reagan, thanks again.
Thank you.
Great. Our best of luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me.
Like I said in the beginning of that interview, I am extremely terrified that Reagan Underwood will be taking my job here in about
solid.
6 months.
Yeah.
No, she's going to be playing.
Yeah, her and I had a
professional.
little talk about that off camera.
Whatever.
So 6 months.
Whose side are you on,
Yeah.
Joe? It changes every week.
Yeah.
I just go who works in my best interest.
Oh, okay.
Whichever one he works
Yeah.
in my best
Which way's
interest.
the
Whatever.
wind blowing? That's where it's going.
Okay.
Yep.
Old Dominion
For field hockey, yeah,
for
Friday.
Field Hockey Friday. That's going to be a huge game, but
It's gonna be a bloodbath. It's not even gonna be
It's
close.
I thought I was going to edit that out of the show, but now
No,
I'm
just
definitely
go with
not.
it.
So I don't know.
go with
Maybe
it.
he's not listening to the show. That's a whole nother story and a whole nother day. Okay, let's shift gears to, let's talk a little Malik Willis
Oh,
before we
yeah.
get into
Talk about
East
Willis?
Carolina, because I know our East Carolina stuff is going to lead into. See, I'm trying to get the flow going. East Carolina straight into our Flames fantasy standings, our bold predictions, and then out of this edition of Flames Central Podcast, powered by Alcova Mortgage. So Malik Willis taking the spot of Jordan Love, I think for the next
Like
2 to 4 weeks, probably,
yeah,
or
I
is
heard
it
more
4?
like four,
More
four-ish.
4?
Let's just go. Let's call it 4.
He talked after the game like Jordan may be back sooner than later.
Well,
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
I heard Malik will say that.
yeah.
So who knows?
But a good point that Matt Warner made going into this game, that if Malik can take this time and just keep him above water, right?
Yeah.
He can secure a spot as a backup quarterback in this league for years to come,
Right.
right?
The best backup quarterbacks are the ones that you never see.
Yeah.
A lot of times the ones that you finally do see for an extended period of time, that's when everyone goes, this is why he's not starting. And then you're like, do we really want to keep this guy as a backup? So he got the opportunity. He made the most of it.
He did.
And now when Jordan Love comes back in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever, like he's proven like I can handle this. I can handle
keep
this. I
growing.
can do the job.
He's done one
Absolutely.
step to
And
proving that
the
he's
other
got
thing
to keep going.
I was afraid of too for Malik, because we all love Malik, is if it had been a total disaster, then you're looking at 0-2 Packers. Do they panic and go try to find a veteran?
Yeah.
And that was it. That was his one shot. So he took advantage of the opportunity and played a great game, leading them to a 16-10 win over the Colts.
Okay, I don't know if you guys saw this after the game, but hilarious quote about why Malik didn't throw when they were facing in 3rd and 10 on their own 47. before I asked him, like, why did you scramble and get stopped, whatever? Why didn't you throw the ball? I asked Malik why he didn't throw the ball on third down, and he told me that Josh threw up on the ball.
Their center puked all over the ball before he snapped it.
I was like, that's the first time I've heard that. Matter of fact, the official came over to me and said, we saw your center throwing up all over the ball. Do you want us to take him out next time? And I said, absolutely, please do that.
Yeah, so he didn't
because
he
you're
didn't
talking
throw
about
this puke-covered ball. He just kept it and ran.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Puke all over the ball. I've never had to throw a ball with vomit on it. Malik probably didn't appreciate that very much. So hopefully Malik's not out sick next week.
Right.
I know, that's what I'm thinking here too. Like Malik, when you look at him, he's a very kempt guy, right? And so I'm like, he got puke on bed. I bet he was like, this is disgusting.
But
linemen are just gross sometimes.
Malik, 12 of 14, 122 yards, his first touchdown pass.
Yes.
Also 6 rushes, 41 yards. Like he played this game, did exactly what they asked of him, did not make the big mistake. And I don't know if you got a chance to see the video in the locker room after the game. How awesome was that?
I did.
You know what?
What was it?
Just them giving him the game ball.
Oh my
and
gosh.
he's the same guy. Like he's still just like humble, downplaying it, whatever. But to do that after only having been there a few weeks, like that was really impressive.
I liked in the interview afterwards with the girl on the field, and she said, "How proud of you are yourself?" And he said, "I'm proud. I'm really not proud. Proud's not the right word."
That's
right?
it.
And I was like,
that's him.
It was good. It was him.
That's him.
I did have a few people text me, and they're like, wow, he's still so humble. Like, I thought that was just like his act at Liberty or whatever. And I'm like, no, he genuinely
I would bet, and if we get a chance to talk to him, I'd be interested to know.
He's busy. He's a busy guy.
I would bet that's the most fun he's had on a football field since he was at Liberty.
Yeah, 100%. Oh,
because
1,000%.
The Titans, and he's never complained. I've never heard anything negative from him. He was put in a tough situation there, drafted by a GM that got fired for a coach that I don't think really wanted him. And he was put in a really tough spot.
He did a really good job of like taking a little bit of covert jabs at the Titans in a way, but not.
Did he?
Yeah,
there was some stuff about how like the Packers really prepared him a lot better and helped him.
He kept on saying, I'm really thankful for this Packers staff and how much and the teammates, how much they believed in me and instilled confidence. He kept using the word confidence. Like they've done such a good job of bringing confidence in me.
Yeah.
And so that's, telling you like the read between the lines. It's like, did they really, really want him at Tennessee?
Yeah.
And the Packers put him in a good position going into this game.
Sure.
Like he threw for 14 times, but Josh Jacobs ran 32 carries, So
what a great.
So they didn't put him in there to fail, which I feel like maybe the Titans would have done. I'm not sure, but I am so happy. I think he's in a much better place in Green Bay, and I hope he keeps it going.
And by the way, he goes to Tennessee this next
Let's
week.
go.
So how sweet would that be?
Road trip.
How sweet would that be for him to go in and then beat the team drafted?
The Green Bay Packers, powered by Alcova Mortgage, in Nashville, Tennessee.
I like the sounds of that.
We need a van or a bus.
Yeah.
What a great organization for him to play for. Because when you look at quarterbacks, I mean, nobody has in history has shown the ability to handle quarterbacks and mature quarterbacks to become good players in the league.
Think about
then
that
the Green
run
Bay
of
Packers,
quarterbacks they've had.
you go all the way back to Brett Favre,
Yeah.
sitting in the wings as Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers becomes a Hall of Fame quarterback. Okay, Aaron, it's about time for you to move on. Before that, Jordan Love.
Yeah.
Jordan Love comes in. The end of the year, last year in the playoffs, he looked fantastic. Like he's developed along. So now you got Malik Willis behind Jordan Love. So I'm sure Malik understands that, and he'll do the best to take advantage of this situation.
Super excited for him. All right, let's bring it back to the mountain. Probably the biggest and toughest opponent for the Flames up to this point in this season, East Carolina, who played App State this past week. Looks like they were going to get this victory.
They were up 16-0.
Yeah, and then App State came back. What was the 21-19 was the final, I believe, something along those lines. So a huge game for the Flames to get prepared for this week. We are on the call once again.
Bam.
So if you need any reason,
I will tell you, in all honesty, I think we were all rooting for ECU because we thought, boy, a matchup of 2 3-0 teams, how awesome would that be? But still going to be a tough test. No doubt.
It will. And Matt has all of the info on the
Matt
Pirate.
is-
Hey, wait. Perfect opportunity to share one of my favorite jokes. What's a pirate's favorite letter?
R.
You thought it'd be R, but it's really the C.
So now you've seen Emily's first sideline hit.
Dang it, I should have saved
Yeah,
it.
you should have saved that one.
I'm saying that in the game.
Yeah, okay. That'll be our
Say
last
that to the head coach in your interview.
Yes, that'd be
Save it.
great.
Yeah.
I will.
If-
By the
if-
way,
if
I don't
they're
know
up
if you
at
saw.
halftime and you get that
Speaking of-
halftime interview, please say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Speaking of coaches' calls, Stanley, my dog, if you don't know, is coming up
Who doesn't
behind
know?
me. I think I'm like escaping in the on the outdoor back porch, and I think I'm like, good, no one's gonna bother me. Here comes Stan with his little lammy, and he's like kneading on it and
Yeah.
pushing his paws
I
on
saw
it,
that.
squeaking it during the coach's call.
Really professional.
I just want to let everyone know today is Stanley's birthday.
It is. We love
Happy
Stan.
Why didn't we lead
birthday.
with that?
I actually think Stan's going to be coming to work a little bit later, but hopefully Matt will be gone by
We'll
then.
be
We'll give him a pop cup.
Yeah, we'll get a little
Pop
Pop
cup.
cup.
all right,
But back to football.
Yeah, back to the important stuff. ECU ran for 98 yards against App State, and they allowed 424 passing yards. So they gave up a lot of passing yards. So that kind of feeds into what, Joe, you're saying with
Look at
take the
Joe,
reign.
yeah.
Let Caden cook.
Let
That
Kaden
could work here.
cook.
I will say
Caden
their
cook.
defense this season, they've
Seems
held
like a Breaking
teams
Bad
under
episode.
13 points per game. So ECU's defense has been really good. Held teams under 13 points per game, only 25% on third down. They have not allowed a team to rush for 100 yards
Wow.
yet this season in 3
Wow.
games.
Yeah.
Now,
Let Cooley cook if he hears that stat and
well,
he's healthy.
but that feeds in too. If that's really the strength, and if Cooley's dinged up,
Yeah.
maybe this is the perfect week to, again, really start to attack in the pass game. Now,
Right.
on the flip side for ECU, their quarterback, Jake Garcia, he was a 4-star kid out of high school, started at Miami, played there for a couple years,
Oh, I remember that kid.
went to
yeah.
Mizzou last year, backed
Yeah.
up Brady Cook there all season. He leads the nation in interceptions, 8 picks so
Oh,
far this year.
This is my bold prediction.
3 against Norfolk State, 4 against ODU, 1 against App
Whoa,
State.
Timeout. He threw 3 picks against Norfolk
Yeah.
State.
Yeah, so he has been a little loose with the football.
He's still starting.
Still starting. So Liberty's defensive backs getting healthy. We saw Brylan Green played maybe his best game of the year.
Wow, that
That play
Uh,
that
play,
Brian Green,
Brian-
that
So,
got the
yeah.
interception.
just keep that in mind.
Wow.
That has been they're
was
2-1, but for ECU, you got to feel like, boy, that's an area we got to clean up if we're going to beat better teams. So that's
What
just
did
something to
Belichick
keep
used
an
to
eye on.
always say? Protect the football, protect your job. What was his line?
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
So that's just something to keep an eye on with him. But I think it all goes back to this could be that defensive kind of struggle. Both defenses have been pretty good here so far this year, and the offenses have had maybe not quite hit their stride yet on both sides.
6 p.m. kick. You might not think that that's a big deal, but I will say the students and
rocking.
really Flames Nation
Fourth largest
has
crowd
showed
in
up.
Flames history.
I did
This is
ask.
going to be number
And
1.
this could top
Yeah.
all of them.
I asked Ian
Emily
McCall
Austin,
about that.
Emily Austin Cudd weather report, please.
It
usually
is
on time.
going to be beautiful. High of 77, low of 59.
Oh, that's football weather.
I think it's going to be beautiful fall type blue skies. So it's going to
Your
be
wardrobe
perfect.
is wide open on this. You go any direction.
Wow, it's
Matt
fall.
Warner
Any
said
direction.
it. Matt Warner said
This
it.
is like when you get like 9-yard pickup on first down, second and
what do you
1.
wanna
Playbook's
do?
wide open.
What do you wanna
can
do?
literally call it.
We always got to
Do
keep
I
our sneak
go with the
right
long
down if
sleeve
we don't
dress?
get
Yeah, right.
Do I
right.
go with the shorts and a tank?
Right.
Which reminds me, I call Matt Warner because we had a little shift in our schedule last night, and I'm like,
Oh,
hey,
gosh.
can this shift happen? And he goes,
You said
shift, yeah, with the FT. And Matt goes, Emily, Xana's about to walk in. His wife is about to walk in here, and if this spider isn't a decoration, I'm gonna have to call you right back. Oh.
Then you heard her.
Then she walks in,
I
and
go-
I hear her
Was she-
screaming
is
in
she
the
afraid
background.
of spiders?
Listen, I go into
No.
my room and look on our
Doug, we
clothes
might need to
hamper.
zoom in on this.
This is the biggest spider. I thought it was one of my sons, like pretend like it was the
Look.
biggest spider I've ever seen in my
Oh,
in a
that's
house.
Beautiful.
It
Look,
was-
I mean, Charlotte's Web is going to be.
Like it's as big as my
that is
hand.
huge.
It was
It's
massive.
not as big as
It
your
was.
hand. That is not
It was
that big.
massive.
You're
Massive.
talking like
This
Emily
is
Austin.
getting
It was
way,
massive.
This is getting way overblown right
This
now.
is Emily Austin
This-
dramaticness.
This is getting
It's
way
dramaticness.
overblown.
I don't-
Both hands, big as both hands together.
When he sent me a picture, I thought he was kidding. When he sent me that picture, I'm like, oh.
My son has all these
my-
plastic spiders, and he'll like always think it's funny.
Yeah.
And so immediately I'm like, okay. And then I'm
You're
like,
Jack.
whoa,
Oh
like
my
that.
gosh.
That's like
That
hairy.
thing's massive.
Like that's real. That's
Yeah.
real.
The
So,
body in that thing,
it was-
it was like.
We got it
friggin-
taken care of.
I got Matt Warner's right. I got it taken care of. Okay, way off track.
Yeah.
But back to
I
ECU.
don't know.
Head coach Mike Houston,
Yep.
former JMU coach.
Yep.
So we'll be chatting
He
with him
and
this
Jamie
week.
Chadwell have had a long history against
Yes.
each other, dating back to their times at Charleston Southern for Chadwell. So yeah, these two guys know each other very well.
It's going to be a dogfight, that's for sure. So excited about that game on Saturday. Like I said, we'll be back on the call. So if
Excited
you
for that
haven't checked out the Flames Central game day, like I said, an hour before kickoff, you can watch it on Liberty's Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube. Liberty Flames is Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. And then immediately following the game, we have some really cool interviews and content coming your way with that. Anything else that you have on ECU and the Pirates?
No, I was just thought something. It doesn't have to be ECU and the Pirates. You know who's becoming a really, we knew this, but he's becoming a really, really good football player?
Who's that?
TJ Bush.
Yeah,
Oh.
you're telling
I
me.
mean, that dude
He is getting after the
is a little
quarterback
bit of a
every
menace.
down.
And he
He's a
played
little
a lot of
menace.
snaps too. It was
Yeah.
like 55 snaps or
Yeah.
right around there for this past game. But yeah,
he's becoming.
he's
really
kind of, you know
good.
what he's like, and this is what you really want from like a good defensive lineman. You want that guy who's kind of the closer,
Yeah.
right? Like where like in the game, this guy is gonna find that extra gear to make that big, tackle for loss, sack, just to end the thing. And he's kind of starting to get that feel with TJ Bush.
He's got a good repertoire within his pass moves repertoire.
That's good.
Matt.
Repertoire.
I'm trying to throw a
Yes,
little
I
French.
know, that was
I'm trying to
good.
throw a little
Matt.
French.
I know you do. This
And
show's
so-
educational.
and so
It is.
yeah.
Did you
Yeah.
study abroad?
Yeah.
I've been overseas.
Yes.
But yeah, he's got good moves. He's got a good push, pull, rip technique. He's got a good speed rush.
Yeah.
He's got all kinds. He's got a good repertoire.
Will you say that? Please say that in the broadcast.
Yeah.
As often as you can work in repertoire.
TJ Bush impacts
Plethora.
every single
He has
play.
a plethora of
They
moves.
just won't. Okay, I guess my points don't matter. They're just still speaking French. All right.
Are you ready?
We're going to, what I was saying was TJ Bush, I feel like he impacts every play. Even though if he's not, sacking the quarterback, he is impacting
Yeah, we
and
got it.
affecting them. Whatever. Anyways, Flames Fantasy standings. I had to make a couple changes this
did.
week because of some
Do you
injuries.
remember
Mo
what they
Williams. Mo Williams did end up playing, but I subbed him out for Quentin Reese because I wasn't sure if he was going to be playing.
been
And then Juju Gray, I subbed for Tyson Mobley.
Which worked out well for you.
Oh, that did work out well.
So here's
Good-
how it
good-
goes.
Good GM
Remember,
moves.
Joe had a big lead.
And Joe continues.
and it
to have a big
continues.
lead.
He had basically Joe's averaging about 44 points a week.
Oh,
Got 28 this week from
What?
Billy
oh,
Lucas's
Billy Lucas alone. Yeah.
3 touchdowns.
Bam.
Really outside of that, he didn't do a whole lot, but that carried the day. So Joe's up to 134 points overall. Trayon Sibley had a great game for me. Joe Carter had a really good game. He led Liberty in tackles. I put up 30 points. So Joe's at 134. I'm at 93. So Joe's starting to stretch that a
I'm
little
going to try
bit.
to sit down with Joe Carter this week
He's
for
great.
our pregame interview.
Tell me what Emily's at. That's all I care about.
Emily had her best week of the year.
Stop.
Coming in, she had about 35 total points. She put up 30 this week. Thanks to Tyson Mobley.
Yeah, put it up here.
Thanks to
don't-
TJ Bush. So she's at, let's run through it again. Joe at 134, me at 93, Emily at 66.
Yeah.
So still well behind, but
Well,
long season.
still getting doubled up.
Long
right now.
season.
You've been
We'll
lapped.
see. We'll see. It's a long
It's
season.
a NASCAR
Now-
race. You've been
and-
lapped.
Can we go to the Snell scoring
The
system?
Snell scoring system.
We
Bring
make
that-
our
get
bold
that-
predictions.
Get that trophy up here.
We make our bold predictions.
So many trophies.
And I was worried. I'm going to tell you guys this. I go check my email this morning.
Nothing.
Nothing from Jeff.
Nothing from Jeff. I was going to start
You
calling the
were-
authorities in
I was
Idaho.
never in
Hey,
doubt.
can we do a wellness check? I was
It
concerned.
was like you were tweeting last week in New Mexico State. You had never had a doubt.
I was
Never doubt.
concerned.
Never doubt.
So I
Jeff
reach
said.
out. Thankfully, Jeff said just had a wild weekend.
Yeah.
You know how
Whoa.
it goes in
sometimes-
Idaho.
Wild weekend.
And-
Sometimes when you have a
He's
binger, it
behind.
takes a little time
Yeah,
to recover.
so he's back. He's back. He sent us the updates. I win this week. I picked a
What?
42-20 ball game, so I was the closest. Joe was second closest. He
What
picked
the heck is
21-19.
happening?
And then Emily third, but actually it was all very, very close. Emily was 45-17, so we're all within a pretty tight window there. So overall standings this year on our bold predictions, thanks to the Snell scoring system.
I said we were going to get
Emily
4.
has 4 points. I have 3.5. Joe has 1.5.
You know
Okay, so I said 4 sacks and 4 interceptions. How many sacks did we have?
This thing is.
We had 3 sacks and 2 interceptions. I'm sorry, but I get an extra half point for that because that is super close. What
Because
was
you were
y'all's?
2 interceptions away from being right.
Well, we should have had that third one, but I
Oh,
forgot
yeah.
what
If you don't
happened.
go, yeah. Actually, I take it back. Yeah, no, 3 sacks.
What was y'all's?
Well,
like,
it
guess.
wasn't very good.
Exactly. See,
I had
can
4
we
different
roll
guys
it
rush for a
back?
TD.
Can
Instead,
we
Billy
roll it-
Lucas decided to be selfish and take it all.
Yeah.
Can we roll it back to last week whenever I
Elijah
said 4
Canyon's
sacks
7
and 4 interceptions,
receptions.
and they looked at me like I was actually, I thought I was the dumbest person in studio, but
You were
anyways.
really fired up about that.
We're getting text messages in the booth during the game from Emily being like, oh, yeah, who's stupid now? And Joe and I are like, what is she
Nobody
talking
said
about?
that.
What? And she's like, 4 interceptions as it's called back because of penalty.
Okay.
It's like it's not even still
I
even close.
have one more thing. I'm on the UTEP sideline, so I can see up on the massive stands where Matt and Joe are all the way up in the booth, and they're measuring for if they
First down.
converted the first down.
Oh, it's first
and
one
and
years.
Joe was like, oh, they have it by the striper, whatever he said. But I just see all these grandstands, and I'm like, I wonder where the booth actually is. And I see Joe up there. I hope I'm not sweating, but I see Joe up there with his hands up like this, and he's like,
that was his most stressed.
And then
Joe,
I just see
I don't
Matt
ever
up
miss
there.
those.
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
The
'cause
best
I could
part
just
of that was
see it
Joe,
from
because he
so
likes to
far.
make his prediction on when they bring out the chains. Him just all out stalling.
Yeah.
As long as
Until
he
that
could.
they were
Like the
close.
chains are they're just starting to stretch him, and finally, I'm like, you gotta say, yeah.
That's the first one I've missed in 6 years.
Oh man, it was just like the moment was so funny to me because I just see Joe up there, arms up. It was
One more
hilarious.
thing,
It was hilarious.
about our Flames Fantasy League, because people think only we care about this. It's not true. There's other people too. In fact, Quentin Cooley brought it up to you, didn't he, on the sideline at one point
During
this
the
year?
Campbell game and during our sit-down interview last week that was on the pregame show. So during the game versus Campbell, he leans back and look, we're in the middle of the game, guys, and he leans back. He goes, "Hey, who has me in fantasy this year?" And I'm like, "Listen, Cooley, we gifted Joe the first pick, okay?" And he goes, "Oh, y'all are stupid for that. Y'all are stupid for that." So then we sit down in the pregame show interview, and he was like, "So is Joe winning big, huh?" Yeah. Joe's
I
winning
love
big.
that as they're
It's
playing the
just
game,
hilarious.
Quentin Cooley's like, takes a hand off, gets up, and it just, hey, who took me in fantasy? Like in the middle of the game,
Yeah,
it's
he's
hitting
asking.
him. The
The
Flames Fantasy League is on top of mind in the middle of the game.
Overall pick.
Number one overall
Number
pick.
one overall pick. All right. Anything else we got in the mailbag? FlamesCentral@liberty.edu. FlamesCentral@liberty.edu. Questions, concerns, comments. You can send them there, and you can be a part of the show. We did a photo shoot, but I don't like any of the photos, so I don't know when I'm going to make new mugs, but
we need
we'll
to get
get
on
some
it.
done. I just don't like.
Good question.
Not a good month for me.
From Elton, who, and you kind of brought this up, but even we'll go beyond TJ Bush here. He was asking about the effectiveness of the pass rush and something you're passionate about, Joe, being able to get after the quarterback without having to bring extra guys.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're seeing that at this stage now with TJ Bush and maybe others, that they don't always have to blitz to create that pressure?
I think what Kyle Krantz has done in calling the defense is he's done a great job of mixing it up, right? If you can rush 4 and drop 7, whether you're playing, man or zone, like there's a lot of different combinations of coverages you can play. If you can rush that 4, you can get after the quarterback. You're going to win a lot of football games. Like you're going to play really good defense. But I think what Kyle's done a great job of is mixing up his coverages, having the confidence to rush 4 and still get to the quarterback, but then also having the ability to be able to bring more rushers, 5, 6 rushers, and play man-to-man coverage within that. And so that's what makes it difficult for a quarterback, is when you don't know what to expect, right? It takes a lot of preparation throughout the week to realize, like, now you get into breakdowns on down and distance, those kinds of things. Like some defenses, they're pretty vanilla. They are who they are. But Kyle's had so much time with this defense now to implement what he wants. He makes it really difficult on a quarterback with his ability to mix up coverages, mix up fronts, and then mix up his blitz package. So I think that's what is going to make this team very effective moving forward, because they're good. They already are, but they're going to become very difficult from an offensive side to prepare for. It makes it hard.
I did get a little nervous with Bryce Dixon going down, and then
Elite Naren went down as well. He came back, and did Dixon end up coming back as well?
I think both came back, but
you are
I
getting
was
a
a
little
worried.
light, especially on the interior of that defensive line with Jay Hardy out.
Yeah.
So Mike Jarvis, big kid from Wisconsin,
made
make a couple of plays.
Yep.
Good to see there. One other thing on TJ Bush, I think he finished the game with 3 pass breakups as well. So he's affecting the game in so many ways.
That's almost like something I've heard before. He's affecting the game on almost on every play.
That is.
Doesn't
Anyway,
ring
I will say Kyle Krantz was the most animated I've seen him on the sidelines of this game. He was going down the entire line of his defense. He was really fired up.
That 4th down stop that they got when TJ Bush deflected the pass, that was a perfect example of what Kyle Krantz had done. Is because the play before, or not the play, as they came out to the line, they went man coverage across the board. Scott Waldron didn't like the play he had on, so he used a timeout.
Yeah.
So on that 4, it was a critical 4th down for them. He used a timeout, and okay, I didn't like that look. So then the chess game began, and so now they came out after that timeout. Kyle changed the defense. They played zone. And then even if TJ Bush didn't knock down that pass, it was covered up. Like if that was completed, trying to throw in the flat, that was complete. He was tackled. He wasn't getting a first down anyway. So those are the things that I really like about what the Flames defense are doing.
Bold predictions?
Bold predictions.
You want me to go first? What do you think?
No, I already got it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool.
I'm going 24-21. Flames walk away with the victory. And then I'm going 4 different Flames will score a touchdown.
So you can't do that in a 24-point game. The math doesn't quite work. Well, hold on. 6, 12, 8. If they miss every extra point,
I didn't think that one through.
If they miss every extra point, it works.
That was actually a really blonde move. I'm getting hot. 3 different Flames.
I gotta clip this part off.
3 different Flames. Sorry, that was really dumb, guys.
All right,
I got up at 6 a.m.
Leave her alone.
3 different Flames will score a different. Will score a touchdown, and final score 24-21.
Okay, Joe, what do you got?
My bold prediction is that Caden Salter throws for over 350 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Whoa.
So 21.
Well, you want to score?
No, you don't have to do it. Don't make me do the math.
And the score will be Flames.
Guys, I'm calling myself
16,
out. That was dumb.
Flames 16.
16.
East
4
Carolina
touchdown passes, 16.
East Carolina 14.
Yeah.
Whatever.
What's your score?
Where's my mic?
My score prediction is going to be 35-28 Liberty.
Okay. My score
really dumb
prediction is going to be 24-20 Liberty. And my bold prediction would be it's 4th quarter, Liberty down, Bentley Hanshaw, game-winning touchdown catch.
Wow.
That puts the Flames on
very
top.
specific.
So, yeah, that's my prediction there.
Wow.
24-20.
I'm an idiot. Thanks for listening.
All
to
right.
this.
Well, tough luck.
We love you.
Man,
Emily.
rough start and rough end for Emily Austin, but hopefully that will carry on to the sidelines on Saturday.
That's
for Joe, you guys have done an incredible job in the booth this year, though.
been
So
fun.
hopefully we can get that last game that we might in November against Western Kentucky, but we'll see how things shake out. For Joe and Matt, I'm Emily. We'll see you right back here next week. But I do want to give you a little heads up when we head into October, which is soon. We will always do, it won't be every Monday necessarily in October. We'll keep you posted on those specific days, but it will always be the day after the game. For example, if there's a Tuesday game, we'll do the Flame Central podcast on Wednesday. We try not to tell Joe things like this too soon
You don't want to give
because we got to remind him.
analysis by paralysis.
Yeah, it's
paralysis
like 24
by analysis.
hours.
Yeah, well, we don't want to not too
Before
much.
for Joe.
Read and react. Read and
But
react.
just know that moving forward, we will be the day after the games in October.
And one last thing. By the way, folks, go to alcova.com
Gosh, I gotta get this in sooner.
Liberty. As rates are dropping, we will carry on a refinance up to $5,000 credit for Liberty alumni and employees across the board.
I'm not just a spokesman. I'm also a client.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks so much for listening or watching. For Joe and Matt, I'm Emily. We'll see you back here next week.